On one of my many trips to the bookstore, I was making my normal rounds in the manga section, seeing if there was anything that piqued my interest that I could then find cheaper online. Now, at this point, I had just recently come off of series such as Your Lie in April and Anohana, so when I stumbled upon Orange, I took to it quickly, hoping it would hold the value that the previously mentioned titles did for me. The slice of life style combined with a supernatural element gave me the slightest erased vibe, so all of that in my mind laid the groundwork for what could also become a great series. So, I picked up Orange that day at the bookstore due to some impulsivity, and also the price at the time being not all too much lower on Amazon. I took it home and got to reading, and for the most part, I was enjoying my reading. To give some context to those who have not watched or read Orange, it is a series about making the most of life, so you live with no regrets. The story surrounds Naho Takamiya, a high schooler who begins to receive letters from herself 10 years in the future. They detail key events in her life, specifically highlighting the things that she didn't do, so as to warn her past self not to make the same mistakes she did. She wants her past self to live her life to the fullest, and that requires Naho to gain confidence in herself and in her ambitions. One of these ambitions is about a boy, Kakeru. Kakeru is a new student at Naho's school who quickly becomes integrated into Naho's friend group. She begins to develop quite a crush on Kakeru, and he seemingly does the same. However, she soon receives a letter in the mail detailing that he will commit suicide, specifically due to the loss of his mother. And future Naho makes it vitally clear that her past self should do everything in her power to prevent this from happening. As the story goes on and Naho begins doing as the letters say, the events of her life and the events of the letter start to deviate, leaving Naho the requirement of having to change for the better if she wishes to truly save Kakeru's life. The state of Kakeru's well-being and the mystery that surrounds him, as well as the romance between he and Naho, is what kept me reading chapter after chapter until I ultimately finished the series. And while I thought I was really enjoying it, in reality, I was just interested to know what was going to happen to Kakeru. That's pretty much the main plot point that has any stakes within it. Looking back, I can say that these characters are incredibly frustrating to watch or read. None of the characters have the balls to say how they truly feel to each other. I honestly don't know how they got anything done. Naho and Kakeru's romantic relationship takes so long to pan out due to both of them being hypersensitive to one another, causing them to basically walk on eggshells around each other. So many times I wanted to scream at them to just do it already! Now, I know in Japanese culture they are much more polite about things, but I also know confessions happen all the time. It is so clear that Kakeru really likes Naho, and she likes him back. And if she's trying to help him with processing the death of his mother, don't you think he might fare better if you two are dating? Wouldn't you be able to get closer to him, brighten up his life? Being his friend and constantly waiting does not make the situation any better. And if we want to get into the counter-argument of, yeah, but she's trying to be careful because of the letters. She just doesn't want to accidentally mess things up. Okay, yeah, I could get that. If she actually followed what the letters said, instead of constantly messing up crucial life events due to being too shy. Speaking of being too shy, let's talk about the characters and their personalities. Naho's personality consists of her being a girl that is cute and shy. You want to prove me wrong? I'd like to see it. She's a nice girl, but she has no depth to her. I guess Takano could have done this to allow for young girls to project onto her, but if that was the case, I would have written her to be a stronger female character for young girls to project onto. When it comes to Man Boy Supreme, he has a little more character depth due to his mother having been extremely dependent on Kakeru and her rapid suicide after he chooses a day with his friends over her. He has to grapple with a lot. And I really do like his character. The problem is that Takano puts him in the story for moments of importance for Naho instead of for just Kakeru. He gets some nice solo character progression moments here and there, but he is definitely overshadowed by Naho. Because of all the trauma he has gone through, it is understandable that he would be emotionally unstable and a little bit of an edgy character. What stinks is that those characteristics become whiny and annoying to read over and over when the conversations he has with Naho are the human equivalent of someone trying to use Windows 95 in modern times. They just cannot keep up. These are two of the truly main characters, the third being Suwa, who is the best character of the series in my opinion. He is an athletic, energetic, and positive beam of light in some of the darker pages of this manga. He also happens to be quite emotionally complex, being a successful empath towards all of his friends, and taking any necessary sacrifice to make sure his friends are okay. He is extremely lovable, making it a joy whenever he shows up on the page or the screen. Suwa loves Naho, as we see that they end up married in the future after Kakeru's death. Yet, he understands her wants and Kakeru's wants, and puts theirs ahead of his own in order to assure their happiness. He is definitely the most ballsy of the group as well, as he threatens that if Kakeru does not go after Naho soon, then he will, which, in a reverse psychology type of way, does help Kakeru towards his goals. Suwa is a Chad and a simp all at the same time, and it's great. He's the true MVP of this entire series, putting together most of the situations and plans to ensure that everything goes the best way possible. He's by far best boy and number one in my heart for this series. The other characters consists of Murasaka Azusa, whose personality consists of being extremely friendly and peppy, Hagida Saku, a manga nerd who is more reserved, and Chino Takako, the best friend of Azusa who tends to be more blunt. Other than them being friends, that is about all I can say to the last three of the friend group in terms of character. The series itself is not all that long, clocking in at only 22 chapters spanning 6 volumes. But since the plot focuses solely on Naho helping Kakeru and ultimately herself, it suffers from feeling like something being drawn out too long. Like, just get to the point already, please. I think this issue could have been solved had Takano focused less on Naho and more on all of the other characters, shifting to their points of view, which in turn would add some character to them. So, should you read or watch Orange? I'm gonna have to say no on this one. It just does not have good enough writing to have a solid story that can create a good rising action before the climax. I left this series feeling all around disappointed, like I paid for something and got only half of it. It feels like Takano got lazy at points and just sort of stopped trying. I would only recommend Orange if you either A, want to experience Suwa, which is 100% acceptable as he is best boy, or B, you're really into the fact that Kakeru holding hands with Naho is a large plot point for 5 chapters. Take your pick, but I know I will not be spending any more of my time on Orange. Hey everyone, so I know in the last video the audio was only on the left side for headphone users. That should no longer be a problem in the future, and thank you to those who pointed it out. I think for the next video I'm going to be looking into Akira and how the manga differs from the anime, so be looking forward to that. Please feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, and make sure to hit the bell notification so that you're aware of when I post a video. We are Dino Junkie, see you on the next one.